There is a channel on YouTube that I sometimes like to listen to called the Infographics Show. And they put out a video called What Does Depression Actually Feel Like? And as somebody who suffers from depression and mood disorders, I thought, hey, let's give this a listen and see what they say. Let's see if the writers know what they're talking about. And there was, for the most part, a very understanding level of comprehension and compassion and a very good explanation from just sadness, like situational depression, through mild depression up to moderate depression. And then there came about a 30-second to 45-second clip that I'm going to play the audio of now. And if you'd like to watch the entire video, I will link it in the description. But I'm just going to play the audio for you now of this little clip. And I am going to react to what we hear after, and we are going to unpack how incredibly dangerous, incredibly short-sighted, and incredibly dismissive and generalizing this clip is. And we will discuss that after. So let's go ahead and listen.
It should be noted that while most individuals suffering from deep depression tend to prefer to avoid social contact, some individuals actually react in exactly the opposite way. Depression often pushes sufferers toward instant gratification as a way to escape the pain and the nothingness it creates. It's a condition that's unique to each individual, but some people with self-worth problems can actually find that their depression only pushes them further into riskier and riskier social interactions. This is why depression and other mental health disorders are often prevalent amongst those individuals drawn towards cults, hate groups, and far-right ideologies.
So that in itself, right there, is, first of all, it shows the bias of the infographics writing team. And also, it's a very dangerous thing to do to, generalize anybody involved in, especially a hate group, as mentally ill, because it gives the hate group a pass. It's okay for them to be hateful. They're just depressed and mentally ill. No. That's very much no. Again, with the far right ideology, you could say the exact same about the far left. Look at how mentally ill those people are. We can see it every day when we watch TikToks and read Twitter posts, just how unhinged mentally these people are. It is very dangerous to specifically pick one political ideology above all others and say people with mental illnesses and depression gravitate towards these ideologies. That is, I would say, shame on the infographics team. This is not a small YouTube channel. They obviously have more than one person running things. It's incredibly shameful of them to if you want to be left-leaning or right-leaning, fine. But if you're going to run a YouTube channel called the Infographics Show, which is obviously supposed to be about divulging information in a scientific, factual nature, for you to then put in a video of explaining. First of all, they went for about 6 minutes doing an incredible job of explaining the nuances of the levels of depression, why people who are depressed go through times where they know they need to do things. They know they used to enjoy doing things. Like my guitar, for example. I love music, right? I miss music. I miss enjoying playing music. Okay? But I can't, like, when I pick the guitar up, I feel no enjoyment, and then I get even more sad. Right? They did a great job explaining that. And then they go and ruin it by throwing in a very obvious political bias, which completely ruins the scientific, factual thing they were trying to do. And first of all, it is hard enough to go and sit down and explain to somebody who doesn't suffer from depression or a mood disorder or anxiety how it feels. Because A, it manifests differently per whatever patient is showing the symptoms. It's not a monolithic disease. And B, it's like explaining to anybody who doesn't have any illness what it's like. Even having a physical illness, if you're trying to explain to someone who's never had to go through chemo, like, they're not going to understand how painful it is until they're going through chemo. Like, yeah, you can say, oh, I feel like shit and I'm throwing up and my hair's falling out and my body hurts, but there are no words to accurately describe that. And it goes from patient to patient. Just so with mental illness. So for them to do what they were doing so well and then just go, oh, this is why people with mental illnesses and depression gravitate towards cults and hate groups and far-right ideologies. Holy crap. Like, maybe I'll give you the culty one. Like, there are a lot of people with mental health issues who want to feel like they belong somewhere, who do gravitate towards cult-like groups. I'll give you that one. But if you're gonna then specify hate groups and far-right ideology, like, I'm sorry, where are your sources? Where are the studies that show that mentally ill and depressed people pick the right versus the left? And also, why does it matter? Why does it matter what, like, you could have said people who are depressed can pick groups that exhibit risky behavior, such as cults and extremist groups. Right? You could have put your information out there in a completely neutral way, but they chose to specify hate groups and far-right ideology. And that alone, it's just really, how many more videos have you produced that have very quickly and very, subtly or not so subtly thrown in your biases, and how many people just haven't noticed because, oh, it's the infographics show, right? Like I said, this is not a small channel. This is, they've got over 1 million subscribers. They have a team. They have a writing, like, this is not okay. And as a sufferer of both depression and other mood disorders, I felt like I needed to speak up, because And this is not me defending hate groups and far right extremists. This is me defending sufferers of depression and mental illness, because the infographics show did not need to throw its bias into what could have been an incredibly objective and educational video for people who do not suffer. But instead you had to throw that little wrench and idea into their heads. Oh, maybe my depressed loved one is also watching Nick Fuentes. Or maybe they're depressed, or maybe they're watching Nick Fuentes because they're depressed. Why are we making these connections? Do you know what I mean? This is not okay. I'm not, and I really hope that other people see this and understand that the danger of generalization, especially when it comes to not just mental illness, but illness that is invisible, like a chronic pain illness or an autoimmune disease. We can't just generalize like this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.